All right, everybody. Today, I want to talk about a top-down approach to winning in sport. This is essentially how you will assess weaknesses and prioritize training for both teams, if you're a coach, or for individuals if you yourself are an athlete looking to improve their game. The problem I see in sport is coaches and players alike can be too quick to blame weaknesses on whatever feels the most obvious. The most common example I see is the team is just generally playing bad, they must not be fit enough, and we have to do more conditioning. Another example might be player keeps getting beat on defense, we need a lot more repetition with this player playing defense in practice. The problem with these is many weak points are multifaceted. There are multiple reasons something might not be good enough, and they're not always equal. Even if one factor is lacking more than another, this factor might be more important to improving the end goal. So we have to know how to prioritize training methods and identify which weak points are contributing to our lack of success. So even a simple problem like poor dribbling abilities could be caused by physical qualities like lack of strength, endurance, or poor mobility. If we're not able to get in the right positions, if we're not able to endure long durations of intense dribbling moves, then our expression of that skill diminishes. To say we just need more reps of the skill won't address these things, which are the fundamental shortcomings, and development is hindered as a result. So we have to take a step back and consider all relevant factors, but do so in a way that maintains a logical hierarchy of priorities. In the system I'm going to outline here, I encourage you to sort your most important points of improvement by how relevant they are to actually scoring, preventing the other team from scoring, or simply winning games. But then you must search for solutions at the furthest qualities. So in the pyramid or the hierarchy, which you'll see on the screen now, you will see scoring or preventing scoring at the top, followed by tactics, skills, endurance, physical output, movement, athleticism, whatever you want to categorize that as, and then health. So the things higher up the pyramid on a large level are the most important. But if something at the bottom of the pyramid is causing a weakness for something at the top, then that becomes our number one priority. And I will lay this out in a way that maybe makes more sense. So we have to work top down in priorities, but then bottom up in our solutions. So the reason the pyramid is ranked the way that it is each following trait is a limiting factor for the one above it. So tactical positioning is kind of the top of the pyramid because you have to be in the right position to even have an opportunity to score. Your tactical positioning won't matter much if you don't have enough skill to execute a goal or a basket. No matter how much skill you have, it won't matter if you don't have enough endurance to repeat that skill across the duration of a game. It doesn't matter how much endurance you have to repeat efforts if your outputs or your athleticism is low to begin with. Essentially, we don't care about repeating low outputs throughout the course of a game. We want to have high outputs that we can then repeat. And finally, our athleticism, no matter how good it is, won't matter at all if you're not healthy enough to be on the field, be on the court, to express your athleticism. So of course, arguments could be made as to the reordering of certain things. And of course, all these things are very intertwined and it's not so linear. But I think this organization helps us think better and helps us make decisions. So since each lower trait is a limiter to the one above, we won't make much progress only by working on the higher level traits if we have issues down below. What this means is if you spend all your time working on tactics, but you have a team that is slow, not conditioned, chronically injured, and isn't skilled enough, then they're going to know exactly where to put themselves on the field of play, but it's not going to matter whatsoever. The issue with working bottom up from the start without a top-down thinking process is you'll end up doing a lot of work that doesn't transfer to the skills or the traits we're trying to improve. We need to work top-down to set our priorities and then work bottom up in our solutions. This is the root of the example from before. If every problem is seen as a conditioning problem, you may never address other issues that are the true limiting factors. Now, here's how you can actually work through this process, either as a coach, again, or an individual athlete. You want to have something in front of you you can take notes in, and you want to begin with the highest level goal. I'm assuming this is winning games, scoring more, whatever that might be in your situation. And you're going to write this at the top of the page. Then, working through the pyramid, you're going to start with tactics as a header underneath your goal, and you're going to work your way down, writing down which specific aspects could be causing weak points in your tactical execution. One example of this could be if the tactics of the team involve a lot of quick movement, or in other words, players have to cover a lot of distance quickly in order for the tactical advantage to take place, then maybe you identify speed as a limiting factor for your tactical execution. It's worth noting here too that I haven't included a psychological or IQ category, and this might specifically come in play with the tactical stuff. So if your tactical weak points are simply a lack of understanding, you would want to include that here as well. Then you're going to repeat this process. You're going to move to the next category where you're going to write skill, and you're going to put subpoints for each of the following categories and identify for weak points in the skill of your team or for you as an individual. Is it an athleticism issue, an endurance issue, or a health issue? And you're going to work your way down, and you're going to repeat that process all the way across. Avoid being too general in your subpoints to the extent that you're able to. If you suspect a movement limitation is present, see if you can identify where, because writing mobility or movement deficiency, which simply just means a player can't get in the right positions that we're trying to get in, is very general and doesn't help us find the solution. So we will want to know, is this deficiency in the ankle? Is it in the hip? Is it somewhere else? And then we can come up with a very specific solution to this problem. As an athlete or a coach of a team without a performance staff, outsource these assessments of the specifics and the execution of the solution as often as possible. Back to the earlier point where we tend to jump to the quickest solution. If you have someone that's highly educated in a field, they will be more equipped to find the truest root causes to things and come up with the most effective solutions for you, especially when we're dealing with that kind of lower bottom of the pyramid where we're looking at health, athleticism, and endurance. These are things that you may need outside help or consulting in solving. Once you've completed the entire document, you want to use your best judgment to rank the priority of each point listed in each category. The obvious number one priority will be whatever is most limiting the tactical or the skill component of things. So whatever you have listed, if there's anything listed under tactics, the lowest thing on the pyramid that exists in that subcategory, if it's health, aka too many injuries that are limiting your ability to execute your tactics, that will always trump all other limitations, because you're dealing with the highest order, the thing closest to the outcome in tactics, and the most fundamental deficiency. Okay, if that's not the case, you simply move up the pyramid for tactics, or if you don't seem to have tactical weaknesses, you move to skills, and again, follow the pyramid up to find what your number one priority is. Then you're going to kind of follow a similar trend to identify priority number 2, 3, and so on. So you want to identify your top 3 to 5 priorities, and then organize practices, training, extra workouts to specifically target those limiting factors. We can address other issues once those things are solved, or we can simply repeat this whole process over again because maybe our weaknesses have changed. Make sure we're allocating much more time and energy to our higher priorities, at least until they're no longer limiting factors. So work through this. I hope this process makes sense. I think the visual of the performance pyramid will help kind of work you through that. Remember, we want to work top down and then bottom up. In that order, we can't leave one of those processes out. Otherwise, we don't get our priorities straight, or we spend too much time working on things that don't transfer and don't get us results. So I hope this video has been informative. I hope you have a better image of the priorities, of the things that you can do to enhance the performance of your team or of you as an athlete. And all that's left for you to do now is get to work improving those weak points. Thanks for watching.